Hello and welcome to the beautiful Napatree Point Conservation Area. I'm Eric Lutes. Join me as we talk to various scientists today about the uniquely diverse ecosystem that we're standing on. It's a barrier spit that separates Little Narragansett Bay from Long Island Sound at the tip of Watch Hill. And it's been undeveloped, which in this day and age and in this particular part of the country is really hard to find. It's also important because the scientists can measure the effects of weather and water and how it impacts the shores, the dunes. So join me as we talk to some scientists more specifically about those impacts in this area.
What makes Napatree unique is it's the best example of a natural coastal dune ecosystem in southern New England.
Most shorelines and coastal communities have been built up with homes, roads, and other man-made structures to support the people living in that area. But Napatree offers a rare example of a shoreline that's close to pristine in form. This natural area allows us to see how the unbuilt shoreline changes over time and how those changes might impact our coastal environment.
Well, what's really nice about Napatree is it's an undeveloped shoreline, and it's unmanaged from the sense of trying to hold the shoreline into some preconceived notion of where it should be or what it should look like. They're worried about that road, they're worried about that sewer line, and rightfully so, right? It's development, it costs money.
Sure.
But it's a different mentality when you're just allowing the shoreline to operate naturally and kind of do its thing.
Let's take it back to 1938. Behind us was a row of 39 homes, front porch in the ocean, back porch in Little Narragansett Bay. Hurricane of '38 came through, wiped the slate clean.
Right, your houses are essentially gone. The entire barrier was leveled, and people started to go, you know, this building on the barrier thing is probably not such a good idea.
Yeah.
And they didn't learn that lesson on a lot of other coastlines, right? They rebuild and they rebuild and they rebuild.
Napatree is known as Rhode Island's fastest moving landform. Since 1938, measurements show that the barrier beach has moved the equivalent of one width of itself to the north.
The whole shoreline was essentially out in front of where we are today. And since 1938 and through a series of storms after the '38 hurricane, the whole barrier itself has shifted.
In the fall of 2012, Hurricane Sandy barreled into the northeast United States, leaving billions of dollars of destruction for coastal communities. Napatree was hit hard. Waves breached the dunes and completely covered the landscape with sand, rocks, and debris.
This is a storm-driven ecosystem. No storms, it'll stay this way for a long time. The next big storm is going to move the sand, it's going to cover the vegetation, and we'll be able to know how much Napatree has changed, but most importantly, how quickly will it recover to its pre-storm state.
From the looks of it, most people would think Napatree was devastated, but it wasn't. Shorelines, by their very nature, are dynamic environments where storms routinely alter the landscape. Because Napatree is undeveloped, it offers the perfect opportunity to study how these shorelines shift and change, and what those changes mean for the wildlife and people living in that area.
What we come out here and measure 4 times a year and after big storms is the position of the high tide line. So we walk it with a GPS and measure its position. And that allows us to track that change we talked about of the barrier shifting landward during storms. We also measure cross-sections or transects, where we record the shape, the elevation of the barrier at 5 sites. Gives us the ability to provide some information after a storm of what the recovery will look like, how long it might take. And again, tell people just to take a deep breath after a storm. It will come back.
Knowing that recovery time allows us to project out to other barrier beach systems, and we'll have a sense for how quickly the system will return back to normal.
What we always look at is you never wish for big storms.
Sure.
It causes destruction, it causes casualties. It's a really negative thing on especially the developed shoreline. But when they happen, we have to take the opportunity and study them. We learn from them and hopefully not repeat the same mistakes down the road.
Napatree is a living laboratory for these dedicated coastal geologists, diligently tracking the barrier's dynamic location and shape from storm to storm and season to season. As we continue to learn from these events that shaped our and the barrier's past, geologists hope the data they collect will inform our decisions when it comes to living, building, and working in these beautiful but ever-changing coastal areas. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your visit to Napatree. Come back soon with a deeper appreciation for this natural treasure.